Hello, GovSeekers. What is up? We are ready for an exciting, hot, fresh show today. Holly Horn is our moderator. I am in an Airbnb in Las Vegas, Nevada. It does not have a slot machine in it. That's really weird. It should. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread this out to your society of people. That doesn't make any sense. Share it to your society of people. I don't know who that is. All right, let's get it going, ladies and gentlemen. This is Government Secrets, episode 178, with the two most censored comedians in America, Lee Cap and Crab Elwood.
I like this kind of you're 8.5 feet tall angle we got going there. He's a big man, folks.
You can't handle the truth.
But most importantly, we've replaced the Surfer Dude necklace, which was
yes. Oh,
it was very naked there for a while.
I know, this was weird. It broke. The one I got, I think it was in maybe El Salvador. This one I got in the Philippines, on a beach in La Union, Philippines, about 6 hours north of Manila. So it was great. I feel myself again. You know?
The problem is every time you turn into the Hulk, it breaks off, and you got to buy a new one.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I got an expandable. It's a Hulk friendly one.
Hulk friendly.
So, yeah. You can get them online. Amazon sells them Hulk friendly. You just Hulk out your necklace. You know what I mean?
That was the most impressive science of the entire Incredible Hulk saga. Was whatever they put into those pants that they managed to stay on both Bruce Banner and and Hulk.
Yeah.
Whatever material that was.
It was amazing. Those jeans were amazing. They would always rip just from the knee down, and his waist and everything else.
Just issue with the calves, but everywhere else, totally fine.
Yeah. So I don't know if after that, then Dr. Bruce Banner was like, I got to start wearing baggier clothes.
Yeah, totally.
Just in case something nutty happens.
So I have another topic I'd like to get into, but maybe we should spend just a couple of minutes talking about the JFK files.
Yes.
That have been unredacted. That hadn't been out. That wasn't out the last time we talked, was it?
No, it just came out.
Yeah.
Like
last
Monday
week.
Or Friday or something like that.
Yeah, last week. Yeah. Yeah, so I have read all 90,000. No, that's not true.
You did that in an afternoon, did you?
Yeah. It was actually really funny. The day after they came out, the New York Times put out an article that said something like, here's what to know about the JFK files. And then it said in parentheses, Oswald still did it. And I was like, oh, really? You know that after you've been through the 80,000 documents and you're sure Oswald did it? Well, thanks.
12 hours? You guys did this in 12 hours and just...
Thanks, New York Times.
Thank you for keeping the official narrative going.
Anyway, I will sum up the JFK files, at least what we know so far. I mean, there's always possible someone realizes something with 80,000 documents that we haven't heard yet, but is that they have some things in there that are important and that we should pay attention to. They are not going to say who killed JFK because the CIA is not dumb enough to have a memo that says, hey, we whacked him. Isn't that awesome? Let me put that away in my filing cabinet.
There is evidence in there that kind of makes the CIA complicit. But this is when people are like, oh man, he's going to drop the files. I go, even if there is a document where the CIA says we did it, even if the CIA were to do that, still nothing's going to be done. Who's going to do anything with this information? No one.
Furthermore, that's not going to be in there. They're not going to let that happen.
Yeah, it won't be. But even the evidence in there.
these are people that killed likely dozens, maybe more than dozens, of people to cover this up. Did anyone think they left a memo in the archives that says we did it? It's like they already whacked dozens of people to make sure this didn't come out. So I knew that wouldn't happen. And I think a lot of the stuff you're talking about that says they're complicit is, and some people overstated this because they misunderstood it or whatever. It's the CIA putting in their files articles from magazines. One was an article from Ramparts magazine, which Robert Scheer was an important aspect of way back in the 70s, saying that a former CIA agent had said the CIA killed Kennedy, and then that guy was found dead a month later or whatever. It wasn't the CIA. So the document we see in these files is not the CIA saying that's what happened. It's them taking a Ramparts magazine article and putting it in their files.
Right.
So, and there's another one like that. I can't remember what it says, but there's another one where it's an article and they put it in their files so they know what people are saying about them. And then some people run around going, the CIA said they did it. And I'm like, no, they just put an article in their files.
But even if they did, who's going to prosecute them? What?
The American people, Graham.
Oh, right. Right.
We, the people, are going to prosecute them.
Yeah. These are the American people that didn't give a damn about the Afghan papers, didn't give a damn about Edward Snowden. Like this stuff that is the smoking guns, the American people just went, wow. And then I get it. You got to just go back to your regular life and you just think I'm a regular person with a job and what can I do? And there's no group organizing anything. And you, even if there is, you're like, I don't want to risk losing my job because I'm in this capitalist nightmare, this gulag casino where I have to work myself to the bone just to survive. And then there's no apparatus in place. Oh, Congress is going to, what Congress is bought and paid for? Look at the Warren Commission. Look what happened in the years immediately following this assassination.
Yeah. Literally the guy who was probably in charge of it, if not in charge of it, one of the main people in the plot was the main guy on the Warren Commission.
Yeah.
Like Alan Dulles, who JFK fired, was pivotal on the Warren Commission.
It's like cops investigating cops or the mob investigating themselves. Like it's
You're saying the American government is like the mob?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yep. There's no, and if there is some inquiry, it's all just a show. It's all just kangaroo court. It's none of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, Congress is largely theater, so that the actual people that are running things, partially CIA, partially entities like BlackRock and big oil and big banks, can actually go about running things while the people point and get angry at the government, so that we can vote them out, and so we have control over it. It's a pretend version of control, so the American people think we're controlling things. And I think I've used this. I don't know if I used it in stand up or where. I know I used it before, but like a lot of most of voting, most of our government it's like the busy box for a 2-year-old, which is a little box that has like knobs and dials and things. And he gets to sit there and pretend he's doing. Or another example would be the fake. Sometimes when people are driving, they have the fake steering wheel in the car for the kid to steer. That's what most of our voting is.
Yes. Yes. It's a busy box. And it makes horns and sounds and it's fun.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of alerts and yeah.
Yeah. Breaking news. I know, and it's the more you, and then I think that's part of the scam and the deliberate propaganda lie of American exceptionalism is, look, it's not perfect, but we have these institutions in place, these checks and balances, and it's like, no, we don't. We those checks and balances are the busy box because they really have no. Because if we really had if we really had checks and balances, the CIA would have been shut down by Congress and the Senate in the 1970s because they would have gone, oh, they murdered our president, or the American people would have like risen up and burned the CIA building to the ground. Any of these just massive things, the Epstein, documents, no one's been arrested from that. I mean, just Ghislaine Maxwell is in some minimum security prison in Florida.
Hold on, but Trump just revealed all the Epstein documents.
Yeah, I know. And this is just Trump theatrics, more theatrics, because his base is, they've been tricked and suckered into thinking that he's some outsider when he's just playing the role of the outsider.
It's so funny, these people that were all, opposed to the ruling elites under Obama and, even under maybe George W., if they go back that far, so opposed to the ruling elite. And then Trump gets in and they just cannot lick his ass enough. Like,
it's stunning. It shows how effective, and America is addicted to this red versus blue thing. Liberals, they lost to Trump again with a horrible candidate running horrible policy. And believe me, in a year from now, less than, we'll start hearing like the midterms, you got to vote blue, give us your money.
I already saw an article like yesterday. It was like, things are not looking good for the Democrats in the election. I was like, what election? What are we talking about already?
And then even look at this Bernie AOC facade. Now they're going to, if those two were to say, we're starting a third party, maybe I could listen to them, but no way. And they're packing up arenas and people are still falling for it. These people.
It's just to get you back. It's to get everyone back into the Democrats. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's like people are still falling for it. They're still thinking that it's gonna, like, something is gonna change, like that. And AOC and Bernie, there, and just like, you're addicted to this. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
People are, and then just like, it's just like, honestly, I watch sports because it's a nice distraction, and the electoral voting and Americans' reaction is just like sports. It's just another thing to keep you like, I'm paying attention. Like, the NFL just had free agency. So there's all these videos like, oh, this team got this free agent guy. And then now the draft is coming up in April. And then we're going to be preseason, like, it's the same hype.
Wouldn't it be great if we, the people, had free agency? Had the ability to behave freely?
Americans don't want it. I can only blame the ruling elite and the deep state so much, because the American people they just don't want to listen. They don't want to wake up. They want to have their team. And like you said, all those Trump supporters who were like, the Clintons are part of the ruling elites and blah, blah, blah. But Trump is a savior. And then...
And the richest man in the world is a savior.
The richest man in the world is a savior. An autistic Nazi is a savior. And it's just, you're kissing his ass the same way the liberals kiss whatever billionaires are funding them. It's staggering.
And just for a second, I don't know if I said this in the last episode, I don't think so, but something I find fascinating, which I started to mention earlier, is the government, our government, in, like, traditionally, like, for decades and decades, has served as kind of a shield for the ruling elite. It is to allow the people that actually run things, the corporate titans, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, BlackRock, Vanguard, all these horrific entities. It's to allow them to kind of remain in the shadows for the most part. Every once in a while, something will bubble up. But for the most part, they're in the shadows. And the anger of the American people at the situation, at any situation, is pointed at the government. Is pointed at, and it doesn't mean the government is faultless, but it's pointed at this charade, like you said, this sports that we're playing, And it allows the ruling elite to always get off scot-free. If you look at like 2008, they collapsed our economy. Goldman Sachs and Chase and everybody else ran off with billions, if not trillions of dollars, and there was no repercussions for them whatsoever for destroying millions of lives with the housing collapse. That's how they believe it should work. Is we point at the wrong thing. We say get these people out of office and we'll vote them out, and then the ruling elite do fine. Where Elon Musk, and I suppose Donald Trump, although he's definitely the lower level of the ruling elite, where they've screwed up is Elon Musk has now put himself in the White House. He misunderstands the actual shield that was there to protect him from the people. And now a significant portion of the country is realizing like, oh, it's fucking him. He's the guy. And it's hurting his business, and it's hurting Tesla, and he's lost $140 billion this month alone. Like, that's why we've had government in the middle of the ruling elite and the people.
And it is the one thing that I go, oh, maybe there is someone. People are like, his stock is down, they're not buying Teslas, that, you know, the unionization of like Starbucks, I talk about that a lot, but even all of the BDS movement that's happened since October 7th, where these companies that fund Israel, people are not shopping at them. And there's like McDonald's stock is down, and a lot of these companies, their stock is down, that people are not. And it's like, that's the one thing I've always said to people. I go, boycotts are, in my opinion, more effective. Protesting in the streets, fine, it's great. But if you do it on a Saturday, they don't care. They're going to be back in business on Monday. But if you shut them down financially, you do not give them your money, they have to pay attention. Money is the only thing they listen to. They don't care about you saying they're a bad person on a sign at a protest. They don't care. They laugh at that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I've been to a lot of protests, and you feel like you're doing something, and maybe some, but protesting on its own doesn't.
No, it's gotta, and I talk more about this on my other live streams, but it's got to interrupt business as usual.
Yes.
If it doesn't interrupt business, it is borderline meaningless. I'm not opposed to protests because I think that they can help wake people up who are kind of just learning things. They can, especially younger people, can learn what's going on.
Yep.
It can unite people. So it has some uses, but it's not the thing that changes stuff. The thing that changes stuff is interrupting business.
Yeah, like you say, it's a tool in a greater movement. You know, like you say, you go down, you feel all alone on your computer thinking, and you go down to a protest and you go, oh, I'm not alone. There's people in my town that agree with me. You start to build friendships and coalitions with them or whatever, and you get more involved, and that's great.
Sparky.
Thank you, Sparky. But it's going to take more than that. I mean, even again, the Vietnam War, it was people protesting companies that were funding the war machine. It was people saying, I'm not, and the war, let's make it real clear too, before we should get
also,
into
we got kind of lucky with Vietnam that the rich kids were being forced to be sent there. So that definitely helped.
It helped. I mean, they were lower on the list, but also the reason the Vietnam War protests were so big and organized and loud, it was a matter of life and death. You were going to get drafted. You were a young male. You were going to go to war. You were going to be drafted and have to kill people or be killed or see it and do awful things. So there's no other protest currently happening, and to my knowledge, and maybe I'm wrong, where the stakes are that severe. Yeah.
Whereas the protests against Bud Light for having a trans person on the can, I don't know if it's quite as life or death. I think it's it's Bud Light or death, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the guys that were smashing their Keurig machines 5 years ago because somebody said some Sean Hannity Keurig thing, or the Keurig owner said something, and they all smashed them.
Thank you, Sparky, again.
Sparky. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, buddy. Well, we're talking about protesting and people being demonized. Why don't we do yours?
Okay. Yeah, so there's a great article by Chip Gibbons in Jacobin about, and it starts off with the topical endpoint, which is Mahmoud Khalil. Everyone knows, been arrested. He was one of the organizers of the protests at Colombia, and there's multiple things that make his arrest and his attempted deportation could still happen, but there's multiple things that make it unique. One of the biggest ones is the U.S. government has admitted he committed no crime, which is kind of amazing. They've outwardly said he had not committed a crime. We just believe that it should be a matter of national security to get rid of this guy. And I think the reason they've admitted that is because they want to set a precedent. They want to make it so that they can deport people without a crime being committed. So it seems ridiculous, but there actually might be an aim behind it. But anyway, we'll get into some of the history in the United States. And the theme here is that crushing dissent in general has often begun with immigration law in the history of the United States. And Chip Gibbons does a great job of helping us realize that it never stops with the immigration law. The immigration, the let's get this immigrant or that immigrant or these type of immigrants is always it's a door to open to crush dissent. So, yeah. And let's see, just to remind everybody, Khalil is a U.S. permanent resident. So it's very close to being a U.S. citizen. He's got many of the same legal rights as a permanent resident. In seeking to revoke his residency, the Trump administration has not alleged Khalil committed a crime. They're just saying they're targeting him for his activism for Palestine. Khalil's grandparents were expelled from their homes during the Nakba when Israel invaded villages and killed people and drove them out. He was born and raised in a Palestinian refugee camp in Syria, and then he got admitted to Colombia. And when the protests started, he stood up to help organize them. But here's some other examples of the U.S. using immigrants or immigration law to begin crackdowns on non-immigrants, on citizens. The first one we have done an episode on, but I'll refresh people's memory: the Palmer raids. November 7, 1919, agents with the Bureau of Investigation, later became the FBI, fanned out across American cities in pursuit of radicals. They raided the office of the Union of Russian Workers, which they had been gathering evidence were anarchists. And just to remind everyone, anarchist means opposed to hierarchy. It basically means you're opposed to people being placed above you for no real reason. It doesn't mean that you just want to set things on fire, which is a propaganda technique to get everybody to think that anarchy means you will ultimately have to sell your child's blood on the streets in order to afford water. But as a result, the Bureau argued the union's members were deportable under U.S. immigration law. Although they had received several hundred warrants, the agents arrested everyone they found. Thousands of people were taken into custody in a single day. In some cases, the agents applied for warrants after the arrest via telegram. So they were just arresting everybody, even when they didn't have warrants to arrest them. 2 months later, the Bureau of Investigation repeated the raids again, this time targeting the United States two communist parties. Now, those were largely Americans in those communist parties, because it was not illegal to have a communist party. It's still not technically illegal to have a communist party. But so now they're going after Americans, but they started by going after Russians. These raids were even bigger, with upwards of 7,000 people arrested as part of the nationwide dragnet. The raids were personally supervised by Attorney General Palmer, but also very important was J. Edgar Hoover, who ran them. Ran a lot of the raids. In 1919, the Bureau of Investigation created an intelligence section called the Radical Division. Hoover was put in charge. As head of that division, he dedicated it to political policing. Hoover gathered evidence of radical politics across the country. He looked for a hidden hand behind racial uprisings or labor strikes. He kept indexes of supposed radicals and radical publications, and he looked for a weapon with which to strike at the radical threat. So if you didn't support the status quo of the United States, which was a very entrenched class system, then you were a radical and you should be arrested.
All right.
Well, the U.S. government had used the Espionage Act to criminalize criticism of World War I. We did an episode on that, too. And states had begun passing criminal anarchy laws. Hoover lacked a federal criminal statute that he could readily use in peacetime. Could you believe it? Back then, the United States pretended to have a peacetime and a not peacetime, a peacetime and wartime.
Oh, what a funny old way to do things.
What a funny time, yeah. But nowadays, if you were to say, well, we got to wait till peacetime, everyone would just fall over laughing.
Yeah. When is that coming?
In 1903, Congress passed an immigration law declaring foreign anarchists inadmissible to the United States. 1918, they amended the law to allow the deportation of non-citizen anarchists. So Palmer raids started as going after Russians and then segued, a nice little segue into going after American citizens.
Oh, I love that we've been doing this, just label someone as a terrorist for a long time.
Really long time.
And so 9/11 was just like, oh, those of us, we were younger, didn't know this history or whatever, thought maybe that was the first time. No, we've been doing this for a long time. And that's what America is so good at, is living this lie that it's this free country and selling its citizens on it, and then doing these things that are so like authoritarian. Like, this is such a totalitarian government move.
Oh my God.
They dress it up with it's bad for safety or whatever.
In so many ways, America is one of the least free countries on earth. I mean, we have the most people imprisoned by per capita and by sheer numbers. So you can't exactly be the freest country on earth and have the most people imprisoned. We're more imprisoned than most countries in terms of wage slavery, in terms of how hard people have to work to get by. The safety net is much worse, which means people are much more enslaved to those wage slave jobs. So there's a whole list of ways in which the United States is one of the least free countries.
It is. It's funny because I was just in a communist country. I was just in Vietnam, and there were language restrictions at my show. I was told you can't make fun of the government or the police or anything like that. I was like, okay. But I was like, I didn't feel under threat at all. I feel more under threat in America. Because they could just deem me a terrorist because I've been speaking out against this government. And
and something you're speaking to, which is it's an interesting discussion, but is like, it's almost harder to operate in a society where you don't know the rules of what's allowed. Like, we're told we have freedom of speech, but you don't really. I mean, obviously, if Mahmoud Khalil is in prison right now, then we don't have freedom of speech. And so you're told you have freedom of speech, but then you kind of don't know when you could go over that line. Richard Medhurst in the UK has been arrested and locked up for various periods for speech. For his journalism. And then, of course, there's things like Julian Assange. But you look at other countries where they say, or they at least they kind of say, here are the certain things you're not allowed to talk about. And you look at Weiwei, one of the most famous Chinese dissidents, and a famous artist as well. But and he has said in a recent interview, a year ago or something, that the censorship in the United States, or in the West, I guess he says, is worse than in China, because in China, you know what you're dealing with. In the West, you're told there's no censorship and there's mass censorship. So it's like harder to to figure out how to function.
It's so, I mean, just look at you and I in terms of two political comedians who made a decision. I made one about 8 years ago. You made one before that, to say, I'm going to call out what's going on in my country in a supposed where I have the freedom of speech and freedom of press to do so. And we started making our livings on YouTube and doing stand-up shows, calling this out. And then they just pulled that from us. So it's like, I don't even know. I'm here trying to like reevaluate what to do with my life at this age in terms of how to earn a living. It's because it's like this guy said, it's so vague. What can I say? What can I say? What,
right.
Like what, you know, like I see some big name celebrities speaking out against Israel, but they probably got a big bank account that they can afford to get shut down. I don't know what to do.
Some are so big that it's just difficult to try and stop them. Roger Waters has been outspoken for years and years, but he is so massive that they can't really stop him. However, they have tried. I mean, he's interviewed far less on mainstream media than he used to be. And this is way before October 7th, they successfully, like Israel and Israel Lobby, et cetera, successfully got the banks to pull their sponsorship of his tour, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago. And the tour is so massive that when like Chase Bank says they're not sponsoring the tour anymore, like trying to replace that is ridiculously difficult. Now he was fine. The tour went on, but they do their best to make life as hard as possible.
Yeah, and that's a guy that's probably getting a 7 figures a year in residual checks because he's got all of these hit songs that have been.
No, he's wealthier than God. Yeah, no, of course.
So he can afford to just like take a hit on a tour because Chase pulls out or whatever. Guys like you and I, we've had to self-censor. I've self-censored. I know I have. And then I've also like, I'm not speaking out.
Graham, you're not allowed to say self-censored on here. Could you just?
I freedom thought myself. I freedom thought myself, and now I'm like, I am not saying as much. I am speaking out about what Israel is doing, but not as much as I would have been because I'm trying to work. I'm trying to make a living. And honestly, if Vietnam or China came to me and said, we'll give you your own TV show, pay you well, and you can make fun of America till you're blue in the face, you just can't say anything about our government, I would take that deal because I would at least, like you say, I know the rules, very clear rules. Very clear rules. I can't.
Well, it's also, and on top of that, it's a different thing to criticize your own government that you grew up in and understand and everything is one thing. To just trash a country that you know very little about, like as much as I know about China or Russia. I went to Russia for 4 days or something, 3 days. It's lazy, but B, you don't have an understanding of it. I mean, I don't have an understanding of what it's like to be a person there, like I do what it's like to be an American.
Yeah, and again, usually the criticisms of those companies.
Thank you, DJ, for the Robert Palmer joke.
Robert Palmer raids, which are simply irresistible. That's a great joke. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good joke, DJ.
Oh.
Every once in a while, someone throws in a one-liner. I like it.
I love it. I love it when a good joke comes in the chat like that.
All right, we've gone off a tangent. I'm gonna run out of time here, so let me speed it up for a minute.
Okay.
July 1934, workers across industries went on strike in San Francisco. While general strikes are a fact of political life in many parts of the world, they are exceptionally rare in the United States. The longshoremen, led by the Australian-born labor organizer Harry Bridges, had been trying to organize a union, struggling for recognition. As was often the case, the police murdered 2 striking workers. I don't think he means it's often the case they murdered 2 of them. I think he means that they murder some of them. It'd be kind of weird if they were like, we always murdered 2 workers. Anyway.
Well, it's like the Noah's Ark of murder. It's 2 by 2 murder.
2 by 2 murders. As the outrage at these killings led to an act of citywide solidarity, 4-day strike. Eventually, International Longshore and Warehouse Union won union recognition up and down the West Coast. Businessmen, private red hunters, like communist hunters, and others began waging a campaign that Bridges was a secret member of the communists and must be deported. After years of a nationwide crusade to expel Bridges from the country, Perkins would officially initiate deportation proceedings. They would take place under the same anti-anarchist immigration provision used during the Palmer raids. After formal hearings during the summer of 1939, weighing the evidence, he was deemed non-deportable. Then Congress passed the Alien Registration Act, which is frequently referred to as the Smith Act. It's remembered as an abusive law used to criminalize the speech of members of the Socialist Workers and Communist Party, an assault on the First Amendment, but it also expanded when an immigrant could be expelled for having the wrong political views. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of Bridges in 1945. They ruled in favor of him again. So they kept going after this guy, and luckily the courts shot it down, but I'm sure it destroyed 20 years of his life. Perversely, Hoover, this is pretty funny. Herbert Hoover, who became the head of the FBI, he cited the abuses of the first Red Scare in like the Palmer raids, etc., as the need for a professional intelligence arm like the FBI. Omitting his role in the repression, he portrayed the civil liberties abuses as the results of entrusting domestic security to unqualified amateurs. So basically, Hoover pointed to the abuses of the Red Scare that he perpetrated in order to get the FBI established. That he then had. Unbelievable.
Oh, I love it. I love learning how just there's so many more layers to America's lies and corruption. It's like,
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. So here's another one, the Los Angeles 8, and this is more recent, 1987. They basically rounded up 8 Palestinian and Kenyan immigrants and accused them of being like connected to the war on terror which they didn't quite call it the war on terror yet, but same idea. By the Bill Clinton years, the government was arguing that political and humanitarian activities lost their First Amendment protections if the government declared them to be material support for terrorism. So if you say something that is supporting terrorism by the government's ideas of what that means, you could be providing support for terrorism. Like, it's such an obvious abuse of the First Amendment. Like, you said something that made a terrorist feel good. Like, what? The Clinton-era Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act not only made it easier to deport immigrants accused of associating with terrorist groups, but made it a crime to provide material support. So, and this also gets squirrely because the government decides what is a terrorist group. So they could take a legitimate charity to help Palestinians, to help people in Gaza, claim it's a terrorist group. Like they just claim the Cuban Doctors Program is a terrorist group. So they can take legitimate groups, claim they're terrorists, and then all of a sudden, because you donated to a legitimate charity, you're now facilitating terrorism.
Well, they could say this show is a terrorist group, and now Sparky, thank you for the super chat, could be saying he donated to a suicide.
Graham, you have just ruined us getting any more super chats ever.
No, I think our audience would be happy to donate to a terrorist organization like two idiot comedians making fun of their dumb government.
Dude, nobody looks at your surfer necklace and thinks terrorist organization.
I don't know. Is this chest hair terroristy? I don't know.
Chest hair is very terroristy, but
it is very terroristy. This golf shirt that I got at Ross for probably $12. Is this terroristy? How about this watch? I got it Big Five for $19.99 on sale.
I mean, I will say that golf shirt with that chest hair is a hate crime. I will say that.
Well, you know, if hating it is wrong, you know what I mean? I don't want to be right. You know what I'm saying, Lynn?
Folks, the final 20 minutes of this is just going to be Graham caressing his own chest. So Up here.
For those listening at home, I'm caressing my very hairy masculine chest hair. Think of Burt Reynolds driving.
I mean, I would sit around and watch when you accidentally zip up the chest hair in the zipper. That
I've had this chest hair for a while, so I always pull it out first. I always pull it out because I've had that mishap.
You have to be a chest hair pro to know how to do it. Absolutely. only 14 zipper chest hair mishaps before he got it down.
Yeah, and that's when I became a terrorist organization, when I learned how to do this to not hurt my own chest hair. That's
okay. I'm gonna wrap this up here. Nativism.
Oh, we're still going? All right.
Well, listen, you lead me on 20-minute tangents every 30 seconds, so it's your fault, honestly.
That's the terrorist chest hair. That's how we do it. That's how we.
You got no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah, I'm at this. My chest hair is a terror cell. Is its own terror cell.
My chest hair is a terror cell. That I wouldn't say that's the name of your next album, but it sounds like a track on the album. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely a track on my next album.
Nativism, like racial supremacy, often goes hand in hand with the counter-subversive project and the underlying belief that unwelcome ideas, be they support for workers' rights or Palestinian liberation, and this is why I call my live stream Dangerous Ideas. Our ideas are called dangerous. Those ideas, voicing those ideas, can only be the products of foreign interlopers corrupting our native politics. And of course, that idea is nakedly xenophobic. But those who wish to purge our country of the undesirable, quote unquote, politics seldom limit their sights to the foreign born. They may turn to immigration law out of prejudice or expediency, but left unchecked, they will ultimately cannibalize the First Amendment. And I think that's absolutely true. It really is like it's the perfect like example of the first they came for the fill in the blank. First they came for the immigrants and we did not speak up because we weren't immigrants. It like literally we are going down that path. And just to remind everyone, this didn't start under Trump. There were over 3,000 arrests under Biden of those protesting the genocide in Gaza.
3,000.
Yeah, so it's like 3,500.
Yeah. This is why I think this country's addicted to it, because the selective outrage of liberals, it's like Trump's first term when they're like, Trump's putting people in cages. The ones Obama built? Oh, okay, cool. Like this country's addicted to it. And so, this show, we're on a list. Obviously, they're going to get to us eventually, right?
We're on a list of hot chest hairs. What we're on
That's
a list
damn
of.
Right. Put this on your list, bitch. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Luckily, I think there's some people higher up on the list, and once they go, then I'll get a little more worried. But
yeah, I know I'm low on the list, but there's a couple people where I'm like,
most of our stuff, they just want to, like you said earlier, they just want to make it nearly impossible for us to make a living or be heard.
Right.
Right,
because they're going to force us into then doing work where we can't. We're just going to have. I'm going to have to start taking work where I'm just like playing ball in Hollywood. Like, you got it. Coca-Cola's delicious. I'm going to have to do that just to keep my lights on.
Speaking of that, this episode brought to you by LG Remote Controls. These remote controls are the best. They work all the time. They do things. You can push buttons. I'm not a good salesperson, but
yeah, I mean, pushing buttons is a pretty big.
If you want to push buttons like we do, get the LG remote.
All right, is this segment over?
Yes, I know you've been waiting for that for 20 minutes. Go for it,
ladies and gentlemen. That has concluded segment number 1. Now, segment number 2. I just got excited because I just typed in, I don't know what I was like, Navy generals taking bribes. That just popped into my head.
For Graham, he doesn't understand the difference between research and Mad Libs. So he thinks you just type. He thinks you just type words and see what happens.
I thought that wasn't the same thing. I thought Mad Lib was just a big research paper. I didn't understand what it was.
I typed in naval farty pants, and let me tell you, the stuff that came up.
Knox blocks made on a submarine. I just typed that in to see what was happening because I like Jell-O, and this is what we found. So I of course, and then like this whole thing, and what I wanted to kind of celebrate, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the second most powerful naval admiral getting arrested for bribery, which
that you are absolutely correct. I had not heard of this.
I know it happened in May of last year. So this is, first of all, I want to go, we'll give you a little backdrop from well, first I'll just go to the DOJ's website. Retired Navy admiral and business executive arrested in connection with alleged bribery scheme. This was May 31st of last year. Never heard this in the news at all. They kept this pretty quiet. Robert Burke of Coconut Creek, Florida. Oh, Florida, a retired Navy admiral, and 2 business executives. Charlie Kim and Megan Messenger, 47, both of New York, were arrested this morning on charges related to their alleged roles in a bribery scheme that involved a U.S. government contract. The charges, and first of all, I'm reading this and I'm like, there must be generals and admirals reading this article laughing, going, how'd you get caught? When we all do this. Like, this is the one guy that got caught. Why did you take bribes, dummy? Just get the contract. It's all legal. There's legal ways to do this for me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, like, who was the senator where they found like stacks of dollar bills wrapped in tinfoil in his refrigerator? It's like, dude, you're a senator. They all get bribed. They just don't do it in stacks of dollar bills in an unmarked bag, you idiot. You get contracts. You get put on boards where you do nothing. That's the bribe.
It's like doing like an illegal, it's like going to an illegal bookmaker to bet on sports when you live in Vegas. It's like you can just walk down the street to a casino and bet the game legally right there.
Yeah.
And it's a complete.
Yeah, or all the insider trading that goes on in the Congress. It's like, you don't need to have some guy deliver a stack to your door.
Yes. Just have a guy tell you we're gonna pass this bill to make this tech industry go up and these companies are going to be affected. And you go, oh wow, great. And then you go buy the stock. How hard is this? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
So what happened, there's 5 counts to this indictment. It related to a scheme in which the admiral accepted future employment at the executive's company in exchange for awarding them a government contract. Again, how did you get caught doing this? This is standard business in the military. Like,
it reminds me of when Sarah Palin got caught for the like the bridge to nowhere, or the having stuff done on her house. That was like, dude, they're all corrupt. You just did it dumb. You just did it the dumb way.
How did this happen? It's just like, it's like a guy that's like gets pulled over by the cops. Do you know why I pulled you over? Oh, is it for the money I stole that's in my trunk? Oh, yes, it was. I was going to give you for a 40 and a 35, but yeah, let's get the trunk open. It's just like,
it's like Donald Trump and Elon Musk doing the Tesla ad on the lawn of the White House. Like, that is supposedly legal, even though if it had worked, I think it backfired. But if it had worked, it, like, just a few points in the stock could have given. It's like handing billions of dollars to Elon Musk, and that's all. At least they're behaving as if that's all legal. So it's like there's so many ways to enrich yourself from this government. Like,
there's legal corruption. Totally legal that you can do that. Why are you?
Yeah.
So from 2020 to 2022, Robert Burke was a 4-star admiral who oversaw naval operations in Europe, Russia, and most of Africa, and commanded thousands of civilian military personnel. Charlie Kim and Megan Messenger were the co-CEOs of a company that provided a workforce training pilot program to a small component of the Navy from August 2018 through July 2019. The Navy terminated a contract with the company in late 2019 and directed the company not to contact Burke. Despite the Navy's instructions, Kim and Messenger then allegedly met with Burke in D.C. in July of 21 in an effort to reestablish the company's business relationship with the Navy. At the meeting, the charged defendants allegedly agreed that Burke would use his position as a Navy admiral to steal a sole source contract to the company in exchange for future employment.
There you go. Good.
How did you get caught? This is every general and admiral has a job waiting for them at these companies.
I know. It's like they just, all these admirals and everything, they just get put on a board somewhere of whatever, and they do nothing. And they're paid, on the bigger boards, they're paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. On the smaller ones, they're paid tens of thousands of dollars a month to basically just have their name on the list of board members.
And then they go on CNN as security expert. Former general blah 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 is saying this is why we should have more wars or whatever. So then in December 21, Burke allegedly ordered his staff to award $355,000 contract to the company to train personnel under Burke's command in Italy and Spain. The company performed the training, and in January 2022. Therefore, Burke allegedly promoted the company in a failed effort to convince a senior Navy admiral to award another contract to the company. To conceal the scheme, Burke allegedly made several false and misleading statements to the Navy, included by creating the false appearance that Burke played no role in issuing the contract and falsely implying that the company's employment discussions with Burke only began months after the contract was awarded. Oh God! In October,
they often get them with the cover up.
Yeah,
you're caught for the cover up.
That's it, and because that's where the inconsistencies pop out, right? So in October 22, Burke began working at the company, making a yearly salary of $500,000 and a grant of 100,000 stock options.
Nice.
And then this is my favorite. I think arrests like this are part of when the cops arrest a mid-level corrupt cop who was profiting off of drug dealers. It's always that we've talked about this a lot on this show. It's always that it's a performative thing. They're going to arrest this person and go, got the one bad apple.
Yeah.
Done. Epstein's dead. Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison. No more sex trafficking.
Cleaned it up. Yep.
Done. We got him.
They haven't even let the kids out of the basement on that island yet.
No. All those kids are in school now. They're doing great. And it's this is the quote from the Department of Defense. Today's indictment exemplifies our unwavering commitment to eradicating fraud within the DOD.
Yeah. Eradicating fraud within the DOD. Let me just remind everyone, the DOD cannot account for tens of trillions of dollars. In their last failed audit, they said they cannot account for 63% of all of their assets. 63%. They don't know where the fuck it is.
Yeah, but Lee, I'm a glass half full guy. That means 37% they could account for. You know what I mean? That feels like.
There you go, Lee. I'm a bullet vest half full kind of guy, and 37% of their bullets, they know where they are. So.
I mean, 37% of the $500 hammers, they know exactly where they are, and. Okay, a couple of $1 trillion, but look, I mean, Lee, I probably have there's probably at least $1 trillion or so behind the cushions of this couch right over here. You know what I mean? That just fell out of people's pockets. So like, I don't know why we're getting all crazy.
Trillion. You don't know how small an Ethereum is, but I have $1 trillion Ethereum in my couch cushions because they're really tiny. They're like grains of rice.
I mean, I'm sure, we're getting into the spring. We're all putting our winter coats away. So 9 months from now, we're all going to find $1 trillion or $2 in a winter jacket or tucked inside a mitten or, you know what I mean?
And maybe an F-35. Whoa. You go through the underwear drawer, F-35.
Oh, man, it's a Tomahawk missile. Dang it. I was looking for this thing.
I actually talk about this on tonight's, tomorrow's Unredacted Tonight that airs is about the Pentagon and all the waste and everything that Elon Musk is not digging into for some odd reason. And one of the things I talk about is people like to go, okay, well, there's some discrepancies at the Pentagon, but it's not real missing things. It's like, it's computer files, like missing money in a computer file or something. And it's like, no, literally the Pentagon will say like they found a warehouse that they didn't know they owned. And inside that warehouse, they found hundreds of millions of dollars of spare parts. Like they'll find warehouses. They'll find Black Hawk helicopters all the time that they had no idea they had.
I went into my shed and there was an aircraft carrier in there. And I swear to God, it was behind my mower. I got like a push mower. It's right behind it. I was like,
it's a big mower and it's tough to see behind it.
Well, it was like a tarp. And so it's just an aircraft carrier. It's not that big. So I was like,
absolutely.
So we're gonna really throw the baby out with the bathwater? Come on, Lee.
What are you gonna do? So
yeah, this is the last quote, and then I'll wrap this up. Together, this is the best punchline to this whole thing. This is that the Deputy Director Grant Fleming, the Department of Defense, who just gave that quote about unwavering commitment to blah blah blah. Finally, he said, "Together with our federal partners, DCIS will persist in dismantling attempts to defraud the U.S. government."
We will persist in efforts to dismantle. What was the euphemism there?
Let me read this again. Where is it? Together with our federal partners. So this is, again, numerous organized crime institutions working together. So together with our federal partners, DCIS will persist in dismantling attempts to defraud the U.S. government.
Dismantling attempts. We're not going to stop fraud.
No.
But we will work to dismantle attempts.
If you're dumb enough to make an obvious attempt, yes, we will dismantle that. If it's already working and it's all swept under the rug.
Yeah. If you have some smooth fraud game running, then we're not going to get in the way. But
what am I, an idiot? I'm going to bite the hand that feeds me? Oh, so great. So that's happened less than a year ago. And I'm sure that's still in trial, and maybe the guy got acquitted. And
if it weren't for Graham's Mad Lib brain, we never would have found out about it.
We never would have known about this. Less than a year, 10 months ago, guys. 10 months ago, this happened.
Everybody, feel free each week to throw in the scramble of words that Graham will Google for next week. So, if it's just CIA, naval, bribery, porn,
general porn,
porn scandal. See, 1 week it was CIA sex scandal. Isn't that what you looked up?
Well, of course. We've done a couple of those. Yeah, CIA sex scandal. Just give me some Mad Libs and just give me some crazy words and I'll punch them in. And I guarantee you, I will find a story. But we should do that at our next live show. We should just have the audience get like 4 words randomly, and then I'll type it in and find a segment. We'll do a Mad Lib segment.
There you go. It's like improv government secrets. It's I need a profession, dental assistant. Okay, I need a government agency.
Okay, the FBI.
And I need a government person, like official.
Yeah, and something creepy.
Yeah.
All right. FBI dental assistant, finger bangs, goat. All right, let's go find that.
There we got. Yeah.
So that's our episode, ladies and gentlemen. 178, put it in the books. I have an album, The Socialist Christmas. May Day is right around the corner. So go get A Socialist Christmas with Graham Elwood. There's some evergreen songs.
Yeah, because it's funny. It's a year-round type of thing. Because if it were serious Christmas album, you can't play that year-round. That's a couple of weeks. But if it's making you laugh, you can play that anytime.
There's a song, Duopoly Bluegrass, which really has almost no Christmas themes in it at all. It's a bluegrass song talking about how the two-party system is awful. It's great for birthdays, lunch excursions, fishing trips. It's wonderful.
I only celebrate Hanukkah on Arbor Day, so it's pretty similar.
This song is perfect for that.
And check out my new show, Unredacted, tonight. There's 5 episodes already up. Episode 6 comes out tomorrow night. And check it out at the easiest place is linktree.com/LeeCamp, because that's got all my stuff, linktree.com/LeeCamp. But we are both going over to do an extra segment, bonus segment right now at patreon.com/government secrets. And you gain 70 some bonus segments the moment you sign up.
The moment you sign up. So you can go over there and we'll be there in about 2 minutes. You can hear it live, but then if you just join today, you will get I think this is our 78th segment. So you will get 77 past segments that are very evergreen and delightful, just like a Socialist Christmas album. So this.
Graham said 2 minutes. I'm going to stretch it to 4. So.
All right. Lee's going to need 4 minutes.
I'm going to be late.
He's going to need, Lee has something he needs to do.
I have a splinter in my groin I have to go deal with. So.
Wow. I don't want to know how that happened. All right, guys, this has been Government Secrets, episode 178. Everybody's a terrorist that disagrees with America, and we've stopped bribery in the military.
See you in a minute.
Thanks, everybody.
Later. Oh, I have a live stream tonight. I forgot.
Oh,
sorry, I forgot to mention. I have Wednesdays at 8 p.m. now. So if you're enjoying the live stream, check out 8 p.m. On my page, Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Sweet.
Later.